I'm gonna miss my supervisor so much. The reason I'm even making this video is not just to talk about her, but to show you guys what a good supervisor looks like, so you don't end up with the musty, busty, mean supervisor who doesn't support you and who doesn't wish you the best and help you to become the best therapist you can be, like my supervisor. So I've been with my supervisor now for about 9 months, and last week we had our last session together, and I am going to miss her so much. But I did say to her that once I'm qualified, I'm going to come back to her, because she is the deal. She's the bomb. She is the supervisor. So for the course, you're supposed to have 1 hour with your supervisor for every 8 hours that you have with a client. So with her, I would meet her once every 2 weeks. She was just amazing for so many reasons. She was recommended to me by one of the counsellors at the school, and that's how I got to know her, and she's just amazing. These are the reasons why she was amazing, and things that you can also use to look out for when you have your own supervisor during placement or when you start working and you're qualified. She was always very punctual. The only times that she wasn't was when technology got in the way, but she always was there on time, and she would usually compensate for the lost time anyway. I think that's because she normally wouldn't have a meeting straight after mine. So if, for example, we started 5 minutes late because of technology, she would then extend the session so that we have extra time. So if we started at 7:05, she would then ensure that we finish around 8:05, because of like having to deal with technology and stuff like that. So in that sense, she was really, really accommodating. And for the first few weeks, we didn't have like a specific time that we'd meet, so I'd have to like arrange with her every week until we found Tuesday 7 p.m, which worked really well. So we stuck to Tuesday 7 p.m. If I wanted to reschedule or she had to reschedule, we would just reschedule as and when needed. So she was really flexible with her time and really, really accommodating, which some people may not be able to do, either because they're really strict or because they have a full timetable and that they can't shift things around. But with her, she was really, really understanding and accommodating, and also maybe because she knows I'm a student and things come up in placement and stuff like that, so maybe that's why she was also super accommodating. But in general, she was such a nice person, so can't fault her. Another thing about her that was really, really good is that she was like straight on to business. She didn't waste time like chit-chatting. She kind of just got straight into it. And of course, it's nice to have a good relationship with your supervisor, but to me it's still quite a professional relationship, and I don't want to get like too personal, too chit-chatty. Kind of like my supervisor at the moment, he's very like wants to have a bit of chit-chat, which I personally now know that I don't like. I prefer somebody who's going to utilize the 1 hour that we have to talk about these clients in detail. And because I had so many clients, sometimes it felt like I didn't have enough time to talk about them. So I can just imagine having a supervisor who then wants to have a little bit of chit chat on the side instead of just talking about the clients, which is what I'm here to do, and that's what I want to do. So she allowed me to speak and to say what I wanted to say about my clients, and then gave her input, which was really, really nice and supportive of her. I think like she did ask last week when we did like our last session, she was, asking for like a review of how supervision went with her. And I just said the only thing I feel like I didn't have enough of was talking about my own experience with my clients, stuff that would have been going on for me personally. Of course, that was no fault of her own. I think we literally just did not have enough time because I had so many things to say about my clients. So that wasn't like great. Other than that, like she was amazing. The third point, similar to like the second one, is that she allowed me to talk as much as I wanted about my clients. Like she kind of basically allowed me to direct the sessions, so I would choose which client I want to talk about. She wouldn't be like, oh, what happened with this client? She would just be essentially like, okay, how are you? I'm good, the usual. And I would just bring the client that I want to bring. And if there's a client that I didn't want to bring, she wouldn't be like, oh, why did you not bring that client? I kind of brought the clients that I felt like I really wanted to talk about in supervision. So in that sense, it wasn't dominated and we must talk about each client. It was basically what I wanted and when I wanted, which I really, really appreciated. I don't know what it's like with a lot of other supervisors, but I've heard that some supervisors are not so nice in that way. So yeah. The next thing about her was that she was so wise, so insightful. I think she had like over 20 years of experience. I think in general, most supervisors will probably have about 10 or more years of experience. I'm sure there's probably a requirement of how many years of experience you should have had. So yeah, I could tell just from the way she spoke and the response she gave and the insight she gave that she had a lot of experience under her belt, and it helps to be with somebody who does have a lot of experience so that you can give the best to your clients. Because you don't want to go and have a kind of somewhat unique or really different scenario with a client that your supervisor doesn't know how to assist you on. But because of her experience, I remember when I was telling her about one of my clients who was just talking non-stop, she actually gave me a time where she had a client like that and how she handled it and what was helpful and what she learned from that client, and she passed that on to me. And that's something I'm gonna forever pass on to other people, and that wouldn't have happened if she hadn't had that many years of experience. So if you're able to decide or find out how many years of experience your supervisor have before you start working with them, do that, because I think it's really, really nice to have somebody who has lots of years of experience under their belt. And on top of that, she was, even though with her so many years of experience, she was still understanding that I was brand new to this, and she never made me feel bad, never criticized me, never made me feel like I wasn't good enough or doing enough. She always told me, you know, how to help clients and what to do better, but she never said, oh, you did that wrong, you shouldn't have done that. She would always be like, more so like, oh, how come you did that? Or maybe try this instead, or try that next time, or in future this is what you could say. She never ever kind of criticized me as a therapist or me as a person for doing or saying certain things, which I've heard that some therapists do that. And you know, you would think everyone in this industry is nice and friendly, but that's not always the case, unfortunately. I don't know how and why you would become a supervisor if you're not nice and you're not able to give constructive criticism in a nice way. But yeah, she was really good at that. So don't ever be with a supervisor who makes you feel like you're not good enough, or steps on your self-esteem, or criticizes you but doesn't say it in a constructive way so that you're actually able to learn from it. Point number 5, which might seem small but I think it's really, really important. She was so calm and relaxed, and she was very much like my kind of person, and because of that I felt very much at ease around her. I didn't feel like I was in a formal meeting where I had to speak a certain way or do certain things. She was very like kind of chilled, and as a result I was able to kind of speak freely and share my thoughts very freely and not feel like I'm being analysed or feel like I was under scrutiny or being monitored. It was very free and it felt very much like a safe space, and I could laugh with her and I could make jokes with her, and you know, we would laugh about things, which was really, really nice and made the sessions go by so quick. Like every time the hour came to an end I was like, oh no, not again, like time is already finished. I wanted our sessions to be even longer, and I did say that to her on a few occasions, but I'm not gonna pay for that, and the school wasn't gonna pay for that either. It was just 1 hour only, which leads me to point number 6. The sessions were a full hour. They were not 15 minutes like a counselling session, which is something I didn't actually know about supervision until I started, that you would get the full hour, which is really, really great, because I feel like that extra 10 minutes, so much could be talked about. There's so much you could learn in that 10 minutes. So it's really, really good that you have a full hour. And like I said with her, if we started late, she would also allow us to finish a bit later as well, which was really, really nice. She wasn't like super strict on time. Something to be aware of, that you do have the full hour and not 15 minutes. I don't know if other supervisors do 15 minutes, but I'd hope not, because I feel like supervision is so important and so crucial to your work as a therapist that it shouldn't be cut down, and you should get the full hour. So like I said, one of my previous points, she was really accommodating and understanding. And I did ask her, you know, when I graduate, can I use you again? And she was like, yeah. And I was asking her how much she was, and she was like, I'm a lot. And then we laughed. So she did say that she does offer discounts if people are not able to pay, or people are not able to reach a certain amount. She'll negotiate prices with people. I think she said the lowest that she'll do is like £60 an hour, depending on your situation, and she's happy to negotiate when you pay, whether it's weekly or monthly or whatever it may be. She's happy to kind of negotiate with you, so she's not like super strict when it comes to stuff like that. So I think it's always nice to have somebody who can be a bit more understanding of your situation. Try and be with a supervisor who's very accommodating, understanding, and is not like super strict when it comes to timing and money and stuff like that, but also that they still remain professional, of which she was still very, very professional. And the last thing, which I think was just absolutely amazing, she actually helped me with one of my assignments a few months back. She read it, she gave me feedback, and the thing is, I didn't even ask her to do it. Like, I was telling her about my assignment, and she was kind of like, oh, is there anything else you want to speak about? And I was like, yeah, I've got an assignment. And because it was obviously about client work, I needed to pick her brains on, you know, how do I write this in a way that's coherent and that's going to get me good marks. And she was like, oh, have you finished it? And I was like, almost. She was like, okay, send it to me and I'll read over it and I'll email it back to you. And oh my gosh, did she do that? I think she sent it back to me on a weekend as well. Like, it's so accommodating, so understanding, so helpful. I didn't say, can you please read it? I just wanted like advice on how I can write it and certain things. And she was just like, read through all of it and she gave me feedback, which was actually really helpful. The fact that she took time out, didn't ask me to pay, didn't ask me like to, you know, pay her back in any way, shape or form. So such a blessing. And I don't think many supervisors will do that, because some might think, oh, professional boundaries, blah blah blah. But at the same time, it's nice to have a supervisor who acknowledges that you are a student and that you are learning. So therefore there's going to be some academic things that do come up in the sessions, which I really appreciate, that it's not always about the clients, it's also about me and my learning, not just the practical learning but the academic learning. And she took that into consideration and she handled it so well. Obviously I have another assignment coming up, but because I'm finished my work with her last week, I can't ask her for help, so I'm asking my therapist instead. So yeah, either way, I'm not saying you must ask your supervisor for help with assignments, but if they're willing to help with, you know, 20 plus years of experience, I think it will be just really nice. And you know, you don't lose anything by asking. You can always ask and see what they say. So that brings me to the end of this video. I hope that this helps you in understanding more about what supervisors are. I hope this helps you to find a really good supervisor in the future. And I did do a video explaining what supervisors are and what they do, so feel free to watch that next, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.